What's your favorite angel?
At the moment, I'm a huge animal lover. So I love the Haley, who's the angel of animals, and she takes the children back into Bible stories, Jonah, and to meet Adam and Eve when he's naming the animals. And she wears a little safari hat, and she has an Australian accent, and she's quite adorable. And I also love that she's teaching our children to be kind to animals. You know, I love her. I think she's fantastic. And then we have Dina, who's the angel of learning. And she carries her iPad with her. And I just think that's so cute, maybe because it's so of the moment, you know.
Yeah.
But they're all very unique, and each has a very distinctive personality. There's 8 of them in total.
Did you think of it? Is this your
Yeah, well,
idea?
you know, as in all great projects, there's been a fantastic collaboration. Couldn't have done any of it without Phil Lawler, who's just been fantastic. And he gave us not just his faith on this and his talent on this, but he gave us his humor. And many of the sequences are absolutely charming and out loud funny.
And I love those wrap-ups that you give to help
Oh,
parents.
yeah. Well, we just thought that was something additional, you know, and the ABCs, for example, you know, the intention here was that these angels who live on the ceiling of the children's nursery can come down when mom and dad aren't around to teach them practical life skills. And so we have ABCs coming out, and we have animals coming out. In the spring, we have 1, 2, 3s coming out, and then we'll follow that up, I'm sure, with shapes and colors and so on. But so on one level, you have the angels teaching, their instructors and their teachers. But we also saw this as a wonderful opportunity to introduce this preschool audience to Bible, to our Bible and to Bible characters, and through a device where one of the angels is a painter. He always shows up with his canvas and his paintbrush, and he paints pictures. And so one of the lessons being taught to the children is about perseverance and sticking to something and not giving up. And so he paints a picture of the ark, and he says to the kids, let's go and meet Noah. And the kids are like, Noah? Who's that? And so next thing you know, they're back into the time of the Bible, and they get an opportunity to have a conversation with Noah, who shares with them how difficult it was for him to have to stick to building the ark in the face of the fact that there was no rain in the sky, and that the neighbors were all laughing and ridiculing and making fun of him, but that God told him to do it. He had trust in God, and he stuck to it, and he saw the value of persevering. That's a fantastic lesson for your 3, 4, 5-year-old child to learn. So then the wave washes them back to the nursery, and the angels reinforce that lesson with the children, the importance of sticking to something. So once the animation was made and we watched it, we thought, you know, isn't there a great opportunity there for me to take that one step further? So it's just me talking directly to the camera, talking to the mums and dads at home, and finding other ways to deepen the lessons that they have just learned on the animation, which I think would be very valuable to your community, you know, because you're already doing that, right? You probably could teach us a few things or two, because we're all so heavily reliant on our teachers and on our educators. And what a blessing you are that you've taken that upon yourselves. And I've always thought how wonderful for a child to be able to be taught in their own environment, and that you're able to teach your children through your own, you know, through your own sensibility too, and through your own, that you can really look out for what it is that they're being taught, because we spend so much time with our children out under the influence of somebody else, don't we? I mean, we place so much trust outside of our own lives that our children for content and so on, and I would think that must give you as homeschoolers a lot more reassurance, which is I'm sure one of the reasons why you do it.
You can learn out of everyday activities and everything that comes into your life that day, and even tragedies, and you know, you can use those moments to learn. And what drew you to preschoolers? Because you know, you could have done lots of different.
Well, I just think that there's such an opportunity here with this age range. a few of us were talking just earlier, actually, that remembering things that we had learned as very young children. And I think when you're taught something in a fun, funny and uplifting way at this age, and we've gone to great lengths to make sure that we have the best animation and the best writing, the best music. It's really a combination of wonderful talents here, that when information comes in at this young age, your mind is so open, isn't it? And your heart is so open that I think the lessons learned when you're this age last with you for your whole life. And
you have a teacher's heart, I think. Do you feel like you
want my father was a teacher.
Really?
And so I really understand when you say that every moment really can be a teachable moment. We used to do a little bit of eye rolling in our house because nothing could happen, but he'd say, well, it's interesting now because, you know, have you considered this lesson or that lesson? And I remember I wasn't very good at math. It wasn't then and still isn't one of my strongest subjects. I was an artist, you know, I was a very creative child. And when we were entering into, there was a period of time where I just struggled with it so much. And since he had been at school, the syllabus had changed, you know, and so as someone able to help me with my homework, he wasn't as up to date as he wanted to be. And he went back to night school himself so that he could learn. And you know, I don't even know that I fully appreciated that as a young teenager, what he did.
Yeah.
And it's only, you know, now as I'm raising my own children that, you know, love is a verb, isn't it? And that when you really kind of step up into action on behalf of somebody else, that you can really demonstrate how you love them. And he went back to night school so that he could be up to date. And then I remember he used to just sit lovingly and very patiently try to just talk me through it so I could grasp it. Because what can happen sometimes at school, the school has to work at a certain pace, doesn't it? And if you don't keep up, it's very easy to fall behind. And that was a subject that I fell behind in. And if it hadn't been for my dad, now I never was, you know, A+, but I managed, I got by, and he was, he really, and he taught, it just, I so appreciate that he did that for me. But
and what is the spiritual journey that led you to this, to right where you are today?
Well,
you are a spiritual psychologist.
I
right?
am a spiritual psychologist. It sounds very lofty. I don't know that it's quite as lofty as it sounds, but I went back and I took my master's degree. I'd always been interested in why we behave the way we behave. You know, I think maybe in some ways it's why I became an actress, what motivates us, why we make the choices we make, how our lives impact that, particularly things that have happened to us as children, you know. And so one of the things here that we're dealing with in Little Angels are those, you know, the things that are very important in a child's life. You know, we've created a character in Zoe that, and she has certain fears, you know, and they might seem irrational to, you know, to other kids or even to grown-ups, but for her those are very real things. She's afraid of the dark, and she's afraid of the storms, and we're able to teach her through the story of Jonah, which is beautiful. I think it really is a way to bring the Bible very alive and very relevant for young children. Jonah was afraid, you know, he ran away when God asked him to go and take his word to Nineveh. And, you know, anyway, as we know he ends up in the belly of the big fish, and that's where our children meet him in there. And Jonah shares with Zoe that he found great comfort in the power of prayer. And to know that God is always with him, and that God is perfect love, you know, and that in that perfect love there is no fear. And it really impacts the little girl in Little Angels. When she's back in her nursery, she really considers that, the fact that she's never on her own, and that God is always with her. And what if she didn't have to be afraid? And so as she climbs the ladder to her top bunk, and she's afraid to go up to the top bunk, she said, you know, she just has her little prayer which she repeats over and over. till she gets to the top of the bunk. And she, you know, has overcome that fear. And it's one of the sweetest, tenderest moments in the whole series, I think. It always touches me every time I see it. And I think, you know, if we can have that kind of impact on little children, you know, if we impacted one little child, you know, that would be worth it. But I have a feeling that we're going to reach, you know, a big audience here. It's a great teaching tool for families. It brings a message of faith. It's fun. It's uplifting.
And there's curriculum that I got a peek at.
Yes, well, we're, you know, knowing that you are a big community and we really respect your community and what you're doing, we thought, wouldn't it be great to provide a curriculum that you could have access to as well? And because I'm sure many of your parents have preschool children at home as well. And how lovely for them to feel involved as well when their bigger brother and sister getting their school lessons. You know, it gives them something to work on. And, you know, it's a quality product, it's quality material. You know, I love God. I'm a person of faith. I love children. I'm a mother. And I love angels. I'm not one, but I did play one for 10 years. And so for me, it's the combination. It's like all roads have led to, you know, all roads lead to God, but all roads led to this moment in time for us. And going out to marketplace with us, it's just...
It's exciting.
It's exciting, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.